Rahim, Assalamu alaikum. Today is the third day of JavaScript in DDCDP 23. Today we are going to study while loop. Yesterday we covered for loop, and then we will cover forEach, map, filter, reduce, DOM element selections, how to select different elements in DOM, then traversing DOM elements and creating elements. So all this we will be covering today. So let's dive in. We will start with while loops. So this again is not much used these days, but still it's part of the language, so we'll be learning it. So while, and then the condition, so whatever it is the condition is, and then the body of the loop. So you usually don't specify initial start of, just like for loops we studied yesterday. For example, I have a variable loop index or whatever, you can call it loop index is equal to 0. Initially we have specified it to be 0, loop index, and here we will specify, for example, I want this loop to run 20 times. So loop index is less than 21. Okay, so it starts with 0 or maybe 20, and then I will do something. For example, console.log, I am being run loop index times. How to make this? Let us use backticks. And what I will do with it, so that it interpolates the variable. Good. $sign and middle brackets and the loop index variable. So it will evaluate it now. Let us just check. And this again is that thing I was talking to you about just before the class, that you always need to have some condition, something which will never let this loop run forever. So for example, right now the loop index is 0, and this is the condition is, if loop index is less than 20, run this. Okay, so this will always be less than 20 because the condition is 0, the loop index is 0, so always this will be true and this loop will be running forever. So in the body of your while loop, you need to have something so that at some stage this becomes false. Yeah, so what you will do is loop index plus plus. One of the ways is plus plus, and you can plus plus means loop index is equal to loop index plus 1. Actually you can do both, so for now we will use plus plus. So plus plus means first time when it runs, initially it starts with 0, so first time when this runs, it reaches this line 4, and it will increase it by 1, so the loop index becomes 1. Then it starts again. Here it will check if loop index is 1 now, is less than 20, true, so it will run again. By the time it becomes 21, and here it will reach loop index is 21 is less than 20, that will false, and then the loop will stop. If you don't add this line 4 or any similar line in your while loops, it will always be infinite. the loop will always be infinitely running. So now let us preview it again. So it has been run 19, so started with 0, so 19 times. Is this clear? So you can have anything, you should have a starting condition or whatever. This is not even not important, because this is technically just like for loop for now, but it can be based on some other conditions as well, but you need to check it at the end of the loop body. It should be incrementing so that this becomes false at some stage. Another one is do while loop, which is not again used much. What it does is it first does something, and then, so let us go to the documentation of do while loop. So it basically runs the body first and then it checks for condition. So for example, do this while this. That's the syntax. So for example, it will always run once at least. For example, in the while condition, if I make the loop index 21, do you think this will run? The top one, the while loop index is 21. Do you think this will run? Why?
Condition is false.
Condition is false from the start. Okay, but here, for example, if I do the same thing, and while this, now do you think this will run? Yes, because condition is determined at the end of it. Okay, though for a second time it won't run, but for once it will surely run. That's the only difference. I personally have never used do while loops, honestly speaking, in my career, so at least you know something what do while loop does. Okay, now let us come to, and with arrays it's very natural to use, and in PHP also you will use for each loop. So one is for each loop in it is in PHP also and in JavaScript also. So let us create an array. For example, let numbers is equal to this array 4, 6, this, the 9, and 10. So I want to multiply each of this number by 2 and console.log it. What I will do, I want to multiply each of this number by 2 and console.log that number. So for example, this will be printed, this will be multiplied by 2, so it will be 8, this will be 12, this 14, 16, 19, and so on. So one thing is, let us do it for with for loop first, so that you know what's the difference. So for loop, in for loop what we will do is for I is equal to 0, for let I is equal to 0. Okay, I is less than what will be here, the length of this. Okay, so 1, 2, so it will be numbers dot length and I plus plus. Is this fine? Okay, so the condition start with 0 means because arrays are 0 index, that's why we are using the starting it with 0, otherwise it would be fine using it with 1. Then if the I is less than numbers are length, we should be moving on. What we want to do is we want to console.log the multiplication of this number in each iteration. So it's what this for is here, numbers I in each iteration. First I is equal to 0, so number 0 is equal to 4. In second one it will be 6, number I will be 1, so numbers 1 is 6, 7, 8 and so on. So multiply by 2, that's it. So now if I just check it in console, we have the multiplication of 8, 12, 14, 16, 18, all of those numbers. Is this fine?
Yes, sir.
So you can do it with for loops also. So you can do it this way with the for loop. The next thing is we are going to do the same now with for each loop. Okay. So what we will do is numbers dot for and a capital E each. Okay, and this. Now it's a call. It is passed automatically a callback function. A function. Okay. Value and number. A function that accepts up to 3 arguments for each calls the callback function one time for each element in the array. Performs the specified action for each element in an array. So a function that accepts up to 3 arguments for each calls the callback function one time for each element in the array. So let me demonstrate it. Numbers dot for each and at the end semicolon. Here it will have a function. This is known as callback function. Okay. But when will this callback function be called? Function. This function will be called each time for each element, this one. Okay. So if I, for example, this function will have, I can call it anything, element or L or whatever. This is up to you. I will call it let us call it element. Okay. So this function is passed a parameter which you can name anything. So here each time this is element. So for example, the first time this function in the first iteration it will be 4, then 6, then 7, then 8, then 9. So element each time is multiplied by 2, and we will console.log it. Okay. So numbers dot for each, it is being passed a function, and function is passed an argument, a parameter by the language, and that parameter actually is this element. Each time this is passed and we are achieving the same result. Let us check it. This is, let us do it with 4 so that we can have 5. So this is from for each. Okay, it is multiplied by 4. So 4 4s are 16. So let us again, it's a bit tricky. First time it will seem tricky to you if you are used to for loops. Okay, so this is actually very easy stuff. Numbers is the array, then for each. So let us do it again. Numbers dot for each and close it like this. I do it like this. Okay, so for each, then it gets passed a function. Okay, the function is passed a parameter, and that parameter you can name it anything. Okay, so for example, I will name it ABC. So this ABC actually is the each element in the array. So first time it will be here, first time it will be 4, then 6, second time it will be 6, 7, 8 and 9, but it is called ABC. So ABC multiplied by 4, that's it, and we will console.log it. Okay. So you don't need to worry about the indexes here. Okay. So for example, for each the meaning of for each is each first time it is 4, second time the each means 6, third time means 7. So you are not going to look into the indexes, but in case if you need something indexes, so the I think the second parameter is index. Okay, the second parameter is index. So if sorry, not here, function for each index, and if I concatenate and its index is plus index, function sorry, it's here. Let us add some space also here. So the second argument of the function is going to be the index in case you need it. Okay, so and even we are not calculating it, 0 1 2 3 it starts with this. So for each is a very short sort of function, and it is used for manipulating each element of an array. Is this clear?
Yes.
The next one is map function. Okay, it is very similar to for each, but for each doesn't return anything, and map function map returns something. So numbers dot map the same, and I will this a semicolon. So dot map, and then this is a function actually, method actually. So numbers dot map. Let us do the same, but we were console.logging it in the for each case. Here we will be returning a method. Okay, sorry, an array. So function again, what this element will mean, this e will mean whatever if I pass anything into it, this function, just like for each. So for example, if I pass is this, what this variable means inside this function, what does this mean? No, this variable, yeah, so any name we can give. So here we have used element, here we have used ABC, here we have used this. For example, this variable will mean element of an array in one iteration. Any element of array in one iteration. So first time it will be 4, second time it will be 6, 7, 8 and 9 and so on. Got it? So dot map function, and I will multiply it by 2 again. So let us give it some map or array element. Maybe for your understanding we will name it single array element. So first time it will be the first element, the second time it will be second and so on. So dot map function, we will multiply it by 2, okay, like this, and we are doing nothing else. So first time it will multiply the element, first element by 2, second time this second element by 2 and so on, but it will actually store that all into another array without mutating the original one. So what it does is, numbers is an array, we map through it and multiply every element by 2, and it stores all of that into another array. Now if I console.log both, console.log original array is numbers and the second one is another array. So what are you expecting?
So first we will have the numbers array in updated array.
Another array, yes, and in another array every element would have been multiplied by 2. So this is the first one, undefined single array elements. No, it's not this function, sorry. Single array element. So you can see this is another array, 8, 12, 14, 16, 18 and 20. How will you compare it with the example we did yesterday? We use for loop to fill another array. Do you remember?
Yes, sir.
So similarly here we just need to return that element multiplied by something or whatever, and the array making is done automatically by the map function for us. We are not assigning any new things to the array. Automatically it has created this array for us. Do you get the difference? So map is very powerful actually. It lets you create a copy of the array and you have manipulated whatever the changes you want to make. So is this clear? We will come back to it again after completing all these three. Then let us create another array and call it just like numbers 2 equals so this is an array, and just like yesterday we did an example of odd and even, the odd arrays. Okay, so we want to create another array which is odd, and out of these elements. So yesterday we used the for loop. Okay, we looped through all of these elements and then checked if the element is divisible by 2, and if the remainder is 1, use the modulus operator, then it would mean it is an odd element, otherwise even. Do you remember? So we will do it now with something called filter. So the map we have used already, and then the filter. These three are the giants of JavaScript these days: map, filter, and reduce. So let the number is numbers, odd numbers is an array. Yesterday we did it with for, today we are doing it with a filter. So numbers to dot filter, and again semicolon first and then the function. This is callback function which is passed to it, just like the other ones. And the parameter here is, we will call it EL for now. EL means each element of the in each iteration. So dot filter will do is, it will check for a condition, and if it is true it will return that and make it part of the array, this odd numbers array. So just the condition we need to check for this EL element. So if EL, and yesterday we have learned it, we can in one line even do something like this: EL modulus 2. That's it. What does this mean? If for example it is 10, modulus 2 will be 0, so it will be false. But if it is EL divided by 2, if it is 11 for example, and remainder is 1, it will be true. So the true only will be returned. So we will return this. That's it. We are not consoling right now, console.logging it now, we are just returning it. And all those, it will be automatically done for us by the filter method. This JavaScript filling, this array filling will be done automatically, not like yesterday we did. So it is just with 2 lines, and let us hope it has worked well. I will just console.log both. One is numbers 2, console.log odd numbers. So this is the number 2 array, and this is the.
Then it actually filters the main array according to the condition.
According to the condition, and you will have to return. Just use the return and the condition. That's it. Whatever condition, you can use if else also. But if that condition is true, it makes it part of the array. Otherwise, it will skip it. So, for example, first time it checked 32 modulus 2, so it becomes 0 because 17 it gets divided fully. So 0, so it is false. Yesterday we learned what is falsy and truthy values, right? So this false, it won't make it the part of this array. Then it checks for this one, again this is false. This one here, the remainder is 1. It means it is true, so it becomes part of the array, and so on. So this is how the filtering is done. In for loop, it would have been a lot of work. So that's why, as I said yesterday, even for loops are not used much these days. Neither while loops or do while loops, but map, filter, and reduce is the norm. And even in React.js and all such frameworks, these are the functions which are used. One difference between filter and map is that whatever is the number of or the length of the array, so in map functions, this array will have the same number. The length of this will be the same.
It will not reduce the
exactly. But in filters, so it will be reducing the number to the filter value. Then dot reduce, it is a bit tricky, so we will study it, but if it is a problem we will come back to it. Okay, if you go to images.google.com, and map filter reduce. So people have generally used a lot of examples of it, so it's very easy understanding them. For example, if I click this one, so these are in the map case, as I just said, in lengths, the lengths of both arrays, the source array and the one which is derived from it, will be the same. So here elements are 3 and here as well elements are 3. This is an apple and it's a peel of it, a portion of it. This is orange, a portion of it. So we did something with each element, okay?
Yes.
So it became this. For example, if I have some code in JavaScript which cuts an apple into these, so I will loop through this via dot map and it will cut it out like this. Now I want to just filter out oranges from this one, for example, array dot filter. So it has just taken orange out of it, and array dot reduce is making fruit chart out of it. This is the best explanation, yeah, mixing all of them into just one thing. That's the difference. This is maybe if I asked the code to output apple also for me, so from these 3 we would have 2, but here it must be 1 all the time, okay? So let us do the reduce now, and in order to understand it, let us do the for version first. For example, I have some numbers to add, okay? Numbers to add, it is going to be an array, let, so for example 5 2 11 15 20. I will need to add these numbers, okay, all of these numbers. What I will do in for loop, anybody? We need to add all of these numbers in the array.
So for loop I is equal to 0 and up to the numbers to 8 length in this 4, the first index will be second. 8.
Okay, let us first, before running any program, you should visually do so in your mind, okay? So this is, we are going to add 4 with 2. So initially and the rule for such loops is we should have some starting variable. So let starting variable is equal to 0, okay? That's it. So starting variable is 0, so I will add 4, initially 4 to 0, it will become 4. So once it becomes 4, I will add 2 to it, so it will become 6. Then to 6 I will add 11, so it becomes 17, and then 17 plus 50.
It would be starting variable is equal to starting variable plus I.
Exactly, that's the concept, okay? So here for loop, and we will do it each time for this array. So for, we start with I is equal to 0, I is less than numbers to add dot length, and I plus plus. Right? Now let us move this variable in. Each time the element, this element is, for the first time this element is numbers to add I. Do you agree? Each time, initially it is 0, so the numbers to add 0 is 4. Second time it will be 1, so it will be 2, and so on. So starting variable numbers to add I, sorry, plus.
plus equal result.
So each time, first time it will be adding this to 0 plus 4, second time it will be 4 plus 2, and so on. So this is known as reassigning of variables. Why do we need it? Each time is equal to this. Let us do it then. Let me, and then console.log at the end. Starting variable. So the sum is 52.
Yes.
Let us call it sum so that you can better understand it. Okay, so starting the sum actually is from start is 0. Okay, then we are looping through this array numbers to add. So each time initially the sum is 0, so 0 plus 4, so it becomes 4, and this is sum. Okay, yeah, this the sum is 4 now. Then the loop, because the code is stuck here, it's not moving out of it, it is not becoming 0 again, it's 4 now. Now the second time we are adding 4, because sum is 4 now, 4 plus the second element 2, 6. Then the third time it becomes 6 plus 11, 17, and then so on. So similarly this becomes, at the end of the for loop, it becomes sum, which is the total sum, and it prints it out. Is it clear now? This is the for loop version of it. Now let us do the reduce. So numbers to add.
We can do it through assignment operator as well. Sum plus is equal to numbers to add.
Yeah. Plus equals, yes. What he means, you can use this. So this and that code is similar. Okay, now numbers to add dot reduce, and that's it. Now it says callback function, previous value and current value. These are two things. So just like other functions map and filter, we need to pass function with two parameter values. Okay, I will call it a and b for now, just for your understanding. A and b, and this, that's it. Okay, so what is a and what is b in this for loop? In each iteration, this first value is, for example, first time it gets added, so 4, it becomes 4 and 0. Second time it becomes 6, and so on, and this is the current value. So each time 4, first time it will be 4, the b will be 4, second time it will be 2, then 11, and so on. So let us console.log it so that you can understand what it is doing. A and b. So initially it has 4 and 2, it has printed 4 and 2. Okay, then undefined and 11, then undefined 15. We will deal with undefined, but you should know that the right ones are the elements, these elements. So b is actually each element in the array each time. And what is a? So we will do something with a now. 0. Okay, if we pass second parameter to the reduce function, this one,
So why we pass the 0? Because it is async function?
no,
This
this is this starting variable sum.
Yeah,
If for example,
initializing the
yeah, initializing. So the first one is function, the first parameter is a function, the second one to the reduce is the starting variable. So this sum is 0, so that's why if in case we started with 5, so we can call 5. Okay, so if we check it now, it's 0 because it's now we have passed the starting value. If we don't pass it, it takes the first value. So let us compare it again with, if I remove this, let us first console.log the function array, so that you know what values are numbers to add. If I remove this 0, so if you check, this is the array, okay, 4 to 11, so it takes first two values. In first iteration, this a is the first one, this is the second one, got it? But if we specify the 0, this one, now it will take this 0 as the first the starting value, and this first element of the array. Got it? You can practice it yourself also, so that you know what we are doing. Okay, now we will return a plus b. And we will assign final array, name it final array is equal to this, and console.log is 52. Let us not call it array, this is final value, it is out of the, it is just a number for now, final value. So this code, let final is this code, and this code is identical. Okay, so let us redo it. Numbers dot reduce, it is passed two parameters. One is function, the callback function, and then the callback itself is passed two values. Okay, and this is the second parameter, 0. So this function, in this function, the first one means the accumulator, it is known as accumulator. So at any given time it will show you the sum of all the elements, and the second one is the actual element of the array, this one. For example, first time it will be 4, then 2, then 11, then 15, then 20, and the sum is this is going to be the sum. So if you don't pass this value, it is going to be the first element in the array, otherwise it will take this value 0. And if we are returning it, in each iteration, this is accumulative value is added to the element. So whatever, just like we did here, the same thing is being done here, and the final value is returned to us. In our practical examples, we will do things with it, so hopefully it will be more clear then. Now we are going to start DOM manipulation.
So through DOM we are communicating with HTML.
Exactly. So you can learn a lot about DOM everywhere on Google, and but the concepts you will learn are very critical, so we'll be focusing on that. But DOM actually is an interface between your HTML document and JavaScript and the browser. So just like, for example, if I will give you an example of if somebody enters a country. For example, if somebody goes to USA, you show them the passport, so they know where you are in the country. You are a foreign object. Similarly, they will have some database that is that country's DOM. So they want to remove you from your country, they will just check their database and then send you back or whatever. Similarly, you type HTML. This is the document dom.html, whatever HTML we type in here. So the browser knows what actually that HTML is, and JavaScript also knows what that HTML is. And if you need to do something with that HTML via JavaScript, you need to read DOM. DOM is an interface sort of thing. So JavaScript doesn't open your browser or VS Code and then type just like you type your HTML. It manipulates the DOM and it gets rendered by the browser. So you can call it like the visa center for your HTML document, and JavaScript directly manipulates it and then it converts it into HTML. Browser converts it into HTML. So first we will let us create some elements first. What is strong used for? Bold. And what is EM used for? Okay, let us just quickly, by the way, DOM stands for document object model. So right now these are the elements, okay, on the page, and emphasizes for italicizing text, bold, and this all this. Now for example, in JavaScript, if you need to do something with your HTML elements, you need to first select it. We now call it selected or targeted. Okay, so in all the DOM related methods generally start with document dot. Okay, just like we have now studied object, what objects are. So document is a built-in JavaScript object, for example document dot, so it has all the functions and methods and everything there. So document dot, let us select something, get get element by class name, elements by class name. Okay, it is not element. So why is generally? Because classes can be more than one in a page, or classes, that's why it should return more than one element. So document.get elements by class name, and what's that class name is? What was it? Inner P.
In DOM, actually we prefer ID because we want to specify target some specific element.
That depends upon situation. So document.get elements by class name and inner P, and we will assign it a variable. So let or const whatever paragraphs is equal to this. Okay, so let paragraphs is equal to document.get elements by class name. What do you expect from it? We right now have just one inner P in class inner P element. Okay, so what do you expect? How many elements we will be getting? Document.get elements by class name inner P. We have in document just one class with one element with some class. One, because we have just one. So if I just console.log paragraphs, what do you expect? Just one paragraph. Okay, let me increase the number of it. Maybe we have another P as well somewhere there. Now how many we have? 2. And in the code, what we are expecting now? 2 paragraphs. So how do you think they would have been structured? In the text format or object or whatever, arrays? What's your perception? Because now these are 2. It is inside some array kind of structure probably. Okay, so let us console.log it first. It is HTML collection. It is called HTML collection, or you can call it as array like. It is an array like structure. Okay, so it is 2, 0 and 1. Just like array has indexes, so HTML collection also has index 0 and 1. So what is the 0? P dot inner 1, P dot 2. If I remove that paragraph which we created, this one, so what it will be now? It still is HTML collection and it has 0. Why? Because classes can be more than one. So whatever something which is related to classes is selected, it will be in HTML collection format, array style format. Okay, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let me add it again. Now we have 2 elements, and if I need to check the length of those, what I will do? Because this is where is the code? This is now, yeah, so paragraph dot length, and it has this property already, so it will show me 2. Is it okay?
Yes.
For example, if I have asked you to have just 2 paragraphs in a page with inner div class, so I will ask you to, if paragraphs dot length is greater than 1, alert, please remove other paragraphs from it. So something like this. Okay, this is just the length, but if we need to access one of it, so what we will do? 0. Just like arrays, it is accessed with index. So paragraph 0 means the first paragraph, paragraph 1 is the second one. So P dot inner. Now if I just open it in console, and you will see you can learn a lot of stuff from here as well. We will come to inner text and inner HTML. These are two things. Okay, inner text is this. So if I, for example, paragraph dot inner text select just the text. Okay, inner text. So console.log 0.inner text. So it just selects the text inside it. But if I change it to inner HTML, because it has bold text also, it will have strong and emphasized also in it. This is the difference. HTML selects the HTML tags inside inner HTML, and text just selects the text. The next thing is, now you have learned the loops, the for loops, and while loops, for example. Yeah, so you can use those. If, for example, dot so you now know by class name we can select some elements, but and with ID, for ID, let us suppose there is some element with an ID. So for example, we have an one with an ID is equal to main heading, and this is main heading. If I want to select this with ID, so let main heading is equal to document dot get element by ID, this one. Okay, what's the ID? Main heading. So what are you expecting now? Is this going to be an array or a simple value? This main heading, if I console.log it, this was paragraphs was array, paragraph 0 and paragraph, even if there was one element paragraph 0 we would do, but here if it is going to be main heading, so it's just the element, not array, because ID should only be one in the page. Okay, but these days with the new versions of JavaScript, we use the document query selectors and query selector all document. So the same we want to do, the let paragraphs 2 is equal to document dot get query okay. One is query selector, another one is query selector all. Let us start with all, because if I want all to select more than one, so here you can specify any CSS selector. This is very powerful. Okay, so query selector all, and one difference with the class name is here you just need to pass the class name. Here you will have to use the CSS selector. So it is going to be inner P. And now let us console.log paragraphs 2.
So in query selector, actually we select a class from the CSS, not
Just
from the HTML.
Exactly. So you can take query selector and query selector all just like CSS. You are playing with CSS. That's it. It can be anything then.
After that, we can add this functionality to the HTML.
Yeah, then you can manipulate with JavaScript with that, but the selection will be dead.
That specific class from the HTML.
Yes.
And then add this functionality.
Exactly. So basically, the selection becomes very easy with CSS like selectors, if you know what CSS does for you. So console.log paragraphs 2. Now there is a difference. We printed out, let us we selected gets elements by class name and paragraphs, and let us console.log that also, so you will see the difference. Okay, Control Z. Paragraphs, we selected it via class elements by class name, and this one is just by CSS selector, and the output of these two is similar but different. So one is HTML collection, another one is node list. One is HTML collection, and another one is node. Technically you can say both of them are like arrays, like its length is mentioned here, but one is HTML collection, another one is node list. So what's the difference between the two? What is node, what is HTML? Similarly, if I want to access the first one, so it will be 0, the second one is this. But if you use this prototype, come to, and if we come to its prototype, we will go through it. It has a for each, but this one doesn't have a for each. This one doesn't have a for each, so we cannot use for each on that HTML collection. But if you want to use for each here, we can use it. This is one of the difference. But technically nodes, and you can Google about them, difference between nodes and elements. So let us do that first before moving on with these two again. If I select just one paragraph, which is this one, class inner p is equal to, this is strong, bold, strong, this. Okay, if I just want to select this one element, what it will be? Let us make it inner p2, document.get query selector dot inner p. Let us give it an ID also for now. ID is equal to test. I want to just check test. Okay, so what I will do, I will use let test is equal to document.get element by ID, and the ID is test. Is this fine? Document.get elements by ID. Now I just want to test dot two things. I want to console.log test.children and console.log test.child nodes. Child nodes is C small, probably this is it. Thank you. Okay, these are the output, 12 and 13 lines. So 12 outputs, the children outputs HTML collection, even it shows here it HTML collections, and the test.child nodes, it returns child nodes or children. So what's the difference actually? We have selected the test paragraph, it has two outputs now. If you check them, HTML collection, it has just strong EM and no text in it, but in node list it has text, string, text, EM, text. So node list actually checks for text also, actual text and elements also, but in HTML collection it just selects the actual element. So if you go to the markup of this, so this is one text part, this is one text, this is another text, this is another tag, HTML tag element, sorry, this is another element, and this is another text, this P is another text. So how many texts are? 1 2 3 4. So now text, strong, text, em, and text. Comments are also selected by then comment is also a node. Okay, so let us give one comment inside this paragraph also. And in Wasim's code there will be a lot of comment nodes. This is a comment. Okay, now the node list shows a comment also, but in paragraph in HTML collection it is still just the strong and EMs. So collection returns collection has just the elements, HTML elements, and the node list has text elements as well as the comments also. Okay, so that's the difference. If I select, for example, I want to select this text, sorry, in node list, this third one, whatever it is, so what it will be? 2 will be just text. The child nodes 2, so this is just text now. But you are mostly going to use HTML collections in your selections, but that was just for a difference. Okay, so sometimes these functions, document functions, selectors will return HTML collection or node list. Don't be confused with those. If the so let us go back to query selector all dot inner p. Another one is document dot query selector. So if you just need to select one thing, if you have 10 paragraphs and you need to select just one paragraph, then you will use document dot query selector, not all. Okay, so it will just select one. Okay, this was selections. Okay, now let us come to traversing through siblings. What are siblings normally? Brothers and sisters, for example, or parent. So let us select, for example, this is div class is equal to inner 3 and it has 2 headings. Okay, I want to select parent of this inner p parent. So what it will be? Inner 3. So first I will select this one, inner p, and then I will search for its parent. So we already are selecting it here, dot inner p. If I change it to query selector, all query selector this, so it means just one. It will be paragraphs 3 and console.log paragraphs 3 dot parent 3 dot Okay, now you should know what parent element does and parent node does. Node and element, you can search about node and elements yourself as well, but if I select node, if I select element, it will for sure select the actual HTML element. But maybe if there are elements which has text in it, and maybe the parent should be then different. So paragraph 3 dot parent element, that's it. So what it will be if I console.log it, inner 3. Got it? Okay, let us add some more HTML to this inner 3 div. Maybe some ul, li, then some h3, then another p, okay. If I select this in inner 3 and I want to know about its first child, so what will be the first child? h2 will be the first child. But if I want to know about the last element of the child, so this will be this is another paragraph, will be the last one. And if I want to know about this element, this is another heading 3. So for example, if I want to know about the last element's previous sibling, okay, last element's previous sibling, so what it will be? This. So let us do all these. For example, I have already selected this p, and console.log paragraphs 3 dot first element child. There is some difference. If I just select, it has first child also, so first child can be text also. Let us do it after this one. So paragraph 3 dot first element child would be where it is, first element child, paragraph 3 dot first element child. No, sorry, we are selecting what was that, inner div. We haven't yet selected it, we have gone ahead of times. Let's delete it. Let inner div is equal to document dot query selector inner div, and it is going to be dot inner div. Okay, is it inner div? Inner 3, sorry, inner 3. So we have selected it. Okay, inner div is equal to document.query selector inner 3. Now we want to know about its first child. So console.log inner div dot first element child. So it's h2, which one, whatever. Or if we need to check its inner HTML, inner text, inner text, this is heading 1. Okay, is it this clear? Okay, similarly we can have the last element child. So what it was, paragraph probably, last element child, and let us remove the inner text for now. So this is the last paragraph, and we can check it from our code also. This is inner 3 and the last child is this. This is another p. Is this fine? Now I want to check its previous sibling, its neighbor, you can call it, the left one. Okay, So inner div dot last element child dot previous sibling. But there again are two things, so don't be confused with it. I will show you the difference here as well. So this is previous element sibling, okay, and even you can go to other levels also with dot dot dot. So what it will be now is 3, because the last one is this and previous to this is this is another heading. Got it? All of this will be very handy when we are creating sliders or carousels, so you should know why we are learning these. Okay, what's the parent of inner div? What's the parent of inner div inner 3? Wrapper, and then the parent is body. So dot parent will take you to grandparent, right? So for example, if I select inner 3 and I am searching for its parent, so let us do it. Inner 3, it is inner div, so console.log inner div dot parent element. So what it will be? Dot wrapper, right? Dot wrapper, div dot wrapper. But again, if I use the same dot parent element again, what it will be? Let us check it. This is wrapper, and then yes, it will be body.
Actually, it's work in a proper tree structure.
Exactly, yeah. So basically DOM knows what your HTML is like. It creates a, even if you have formatted, if you have typed some wrong HTML, incorrect HTML, it will try to correct it for you. The DOM actually. Okay, if you just click for example, inner div dot parent node and parent element. Why are these two things here? Okay, so or dot previous elements sibling, and another one is previous sibling. So there is difference between these two. So this actually means node, it counts nodes also, like text and comments also, but the other one won't count that. It will just return you the HTML elements. So let us, for example, in this inner div we have a comment. How is comment done? Control okay. Now the inner 3 has first some comment also, okay, and if I check inner div dot first, again we have first child and first element child. So if I select first element child and console.log it, it will be h2. It has ignored the comment. It is h2. This is the first element child. But if I change it to first child, so what do you expect now? what will be the first child of inner div now? Let us do it both. The comment, because that is now first element child, that is now counting the comments and text also. Actually this is old javascript was created years back, and that was part of the, maybe it has some use cases. I personally have never used the first child, for example, and don't need to. Why would you be selecting comment to do something with it? Maybe if there are use cases, so that's why it exists. Most of the times you will use this. So if we get this is uh, mm, 24. Okay, first child, it returns. Okay, even here you can check its next and previous siblings also, and things like these. One tip, for example, if I select this element, sorry, h2, this one, and you just need to practice this in your browser. Okay, so if I open it in the browser, here inspect, and I click on, say for example, this element, it is div.inner3 inside h2, inside it has h2, and I want to select the parent of it, the inner3. Okay, so if I come to console and you have selected h2, if you come to console and you just specify $0, enter, this is actually the one you have highlighted. $0 means the one you have highlighted. So $0, just to see what is there, to practice this DOM traversal. So $0 dot parent element, and it is inner3. So rather than while you are learning it, selecting it by ID or whatever, and then you're doing it, so this is one of the techniques you can do it. Or for example, $0 dot next element sibling, so next is inner p. So you can practice it with $0. You can use $1 also, something like this. So this is very handy actually. Now let us turn our attention to, we'll have the last 30 minutes. Okay, we will turn our attention to creating elements in JavaScript. And then, so for example, if this is my HTML and I have already opened it in browser, when do we need to create elements? We need to create elements once you have done with you are done with your HTML document and you are on the page, and now something needs to happen so that you can create elements. Okay, maybe you are clicking something, moving mouse, whatever. So right now, up till now, you have been creating elements via code in your VS Code, but now we need to create elements via JavaScript also. Okay, so let us do it like this. So creating elements. Creating elements.js, and Okay. Okay, I have created two files, creating elements.html and creating elements.js. Let us just first div class is equal to wrapper. So the steps to take: one, you create element. Two, once it is created, it is in JavaScript memory. When an element created, it is not yet part of the any HTML on your page. Then you assign it to some element on the page. Add it to some element on the page. Right? So let us create a paragraph, maybe not a paragraph element but a div. So document, again this is DOM related, so document dot create element. And what's the element? Div. You pass it the name of the tag, HTML tag. Okay, so it gets created and it is in a variable now. Let new div is equal to this, but you can't do anything with it, it is not yet part of the document. Okay, the next step is you need to select this element also, so that you can attach it to it. Let wrapper is equal to document dot query selector, and what's that? Dot wrapper. The class name is dot wrapper. So now we have, because I just in the start told you whatever you want to do with some element in JavaScript, first you need to target it. Okay, so we have created a new div, and this is the parent element, this one. Okay, so as I said, that it remains in the memory unless you add it to the this one. So here this one is the old version of it, and I will have a newer version also. So wrapper dot append child, and what's that child is? New div. That's it. As soon as you do this, it becomes part of your, it shows in the browser then for you. So let us preview it now. If I inspect elements, where is it? So body, and it has a div now. We have programmatically created this div now. Okay, so let us add some CSS here so that it is easier for us to check if we have rightly created. Dot wrapper Okay, this is just plain CSS. And now we have created an element, a new div, and then assigned it as a child to the new div. We can add classes also to the new element. So new div, what is this? Class list dot add. This is a function, new div dot class list dot add. And what class we want to add? Because I have given it a box, so just want to add a box it here, right? And if we check it now in the something is missing in CSS. Dot. Oh yes, height and width. May not be there. Okay, this is columns. You are right. Greater template columns. Background is this. What's wrong with the CSS? Anybody? Display grid template. Height. Okay, this is that one box. Okay, and it is zoomed out, so we have created one div. If I need to create another one, what we will do? We will create another element and add it to the child, so it will always add it to the end of the. So let us do it again. Let second div is equal to document dot get dot create element and it is going to be a div.
Can we make it name map?
What?
Map, like
Yeah. Yes, we can do that too. So let second div this is this, and once this is created, is in the memory, it is not yet part of the HTML element. So now new div, second div dot class list. To add class, we need class list dot add box, and then we need to append it to this wrapper. We already have targeted it. Dot append child new div. Second div. So it will always add it to this. So this is now the second element. If we just check it, this is the second box. Is this fine? Which has been added. Or maybe we can add another class as well to it. The second one, box 2. Let us see if it works. It doesn't. Can we add more than 2 classes? Now it has 2 classes. Okay. Maybe we need to go to documentation, mdn class list dot add. Yeah, comma separated. Good. So we can pass it like box3. No. Class list dot add, maybe array.
So comma should be outside the braces. Quotations.
Yeah, this one is actually an error. Now it has added already. Similarly, you can remove class list dot remove. Class name will just show you only the name, and all of these dot value. Okay. Now we will change append child to append. Okay. So if I remove this line or comment out this one, dot wrapper dot append child, sorry, append. So append has so it adds it to the last child, last. But if we use prepend, it adds it to the start. Insert nodes before the first child of node. Okay, so prepend will second div. Where will be the location of second div now? It's on the top now. Prepend and append. So append does it at the as the last child of the container, and this does as the first child of the container. Is this fine?
Yes.
Prepend and append. Prepend adds it to the start of the as the first child, and append it as the last child. Similarly, prepend, append. There are two more. Okay. Then we have insert adjacent elements. Now you know what elements are, and it has position and element. So let us first create a few hard coded value HTML elements here. If class is equal to wrapper 2, then it has class is equal to a1, class is equal to a2, class is equal to a3, class is equal to a4. Okay, this is second wrapper, and it has 4 headings, simple headings with classes a1, 2, 8, 3 and 4. Okay, so I will be adding a paragraph which has been created by JavaScript into each of these locations, for example, right? So let us do this now. First we need to target what? And all this this is not as targeting. It should be at the top of your JavaScript file so that you don't need to search for it. So for example, if I have a 200 line code, all of your search selections should be at the top so that you can easily go up and search for your selections. But right now let us do it here. Let wrapper2 is equal to, what it will be, document dot query, which is selector, and what it is, dot wrapper2. We will be adding all elements to this one. Okay, now let new paragraph is equal to document dot create element, and what is it is going to be a p. We want to create p, but p should not be empty, it should have some inner text. So p dot new paragraph dot inner text is equal to this has been created by JavaScript. This is fine. So inner text, this the second step is, as I said, this create element and add it to some element on the page. Rather, we should have two here. Select the element you want to add this new element to, and then it should be 3. So we already have selected wrapper 2 where it will be added. The new paragraph is this one. So now wrapper 2 dot, so we have used append and prepend already, right? Now let us use this one, insert adjacent element. This is very handy. Position and element. So before begin, after begin, before end, after end. Okay, so let us first use after begin. 2 dot insert adjacent element after begin, and which is the element we want to add, new paragraph. Let us check it. This is wrapper 2 and this paragraph has been added by JavaScript. So it is after begin. If you see, it is after begin. Secondly, if we use what was the second one? Always go to documentation. Okay, after begin, before end. So what will be the location of this before end?
The end of the wrapper.
Exactly, just like append. So after, before, end. So we are here and the paragraph is before end. Okay, then there is before begin. Any guesses where it will be? Before begin, and this is the element we are targeting, we are adding elements to. So before begin of wrapper 2 is outside of wrapper 2. So this is wrapper 2 and this is before beginning of wrapper 2, like just its neighbor. And before begin, after end. So what is this going to be? After end. So after wrapper 2, it means once it ends, it will add this to the element. So let us go there. This is wrapper 2 and this is after end, not within it but after it ends, after the closing of wrapper 2. Okay, insert previous sibling, something like this. Let us check. Okay, we will further continue this lecture tomorrow, inshallah, because this has been a marathon one. There are similar APIs which you need to check. Okay, or let us quickly do some easier stuff as well. So for example, you already have used string literals for HTML, right? What's the advantage of it? For example, if I need to create UL and LIs with JavaScript like this, so first I will create UL element, then add all of the LIs element into it, and then I will assign that to some parent element. But one more thing, there is something called browser rendering or paint in browser. So for example, you should create, if you have to create a lot of markup in JavaScript, you should create it first as a whole, and then once all of that is created, you should add that to the element, not one by one, because it is not performant. So for example, let us do that quickly. If I create I need to create a div with two headings. Okay, so for example, if I need to I want something like this: div class is equal to wrapper3, and then I need 3 headings. Let us copy them, these ones, or 4 ones. Okay, I need all this via JavaScript, not HTML. So what I will do is I will first create all these elements, this one, this one, this one. You know now how to create elements. All of these should be created first, then I will create the parent element in JavaScript, then I will append or prepend or whatever all of these. Okay, and then all of this is in the memory first. All of this is in the, I will give you this as an assignment. So all of this is now in the memory. Then at the end I will append it to the body, so it will become as just one operation, rather than just if I create this and then append it then to the body, then this to this. So it is a lot of work, it is not performant. So what you will do is you will create all this first in JavaScript and at the end append it to the so let us quickly do it so that you are not confused. So let wrapper3 is equal to document dot create element, and what is that going to be? Div. Now it has been created. Now let h1 is equal to document dot create element h1 and h1 dot inner text, this is equal to, this is h1 text. Similarly you will create 2 and 3. And then 3. Right now we are not adding them to the page, we are just creating elements. Okay, this is enough. Now I will append this to this. So wrapper 3 dot append, what I am going to append, 1 h1, this is h2, h3. So now all of these have been added to the wrapper 3, but they are still not part of the page because we have created wrapper 3 also via JavaScript. Now at last we will add it to the body. So you can target document, and body is very common element in and in older JavaScript, so that's why it is available on document.body also. Okay, just like this, we don't need to specify query selector for body. Document.body dot append, and what are we going to append, Shabas? Wrapper 3. Well done. And notice this is this variable, that's why it has no quotes in it. Hopefully it will work. This is wrapper 3. Let us delete that first one first. What is missing? Anybody? Class is equal to wrapper 3. We haven't given it any class, so what can we do in JavaScript? This one. So wrapper 3 dot class list dot add, and it is going to be wrapper 3. Now question, it has added it to the bottom of the body, closing, before closing. If you see, it is at the end of, even below the script tag. I want to move it to the top of the body here. What I will do is the simplest is prepend. So now it is at the top of the above it. Okay, one last thing, this is wrapper, it has just 2 boxes right now. Okay, and what I want is an array. Let us quickly do it, and you will see what are the advantages of it. Okay, so let us create this is because I am an old school, so I can always revert to this for using variables, but let content, we will call it content, is equal to an array, and in which this is first box text, this is second box text, some lorem ipsum, whatever. So how many items these are? 4. So let us copy and paste them. Now how many items there are? 8, now 12, now 16. That's it. 16 items we have in the array. Okay. The next thing is let us do it with for loop. Okay, so for I is equal to 0, I is less than, with a content dot length, and I plus plus. So what I will do here, we will create element and make it its text and assign it to the main wrapper. So let us do it. Let new box is equal to document dot create element. What is it going to be? Div. Then div new box dot inner text is equal to Shabas. Tell me what it is going to be. Content I. So its inner text will be, for example, first time it will be this, second time it will be this, and so on. So now the element has been created. Here you create element first, then select the element. So we already have selected wrapper, and then we add it to it. So what we will do, wrapper dot append new box. Hopefully it will have worked. If not, let us check. One thing is missing. What is that? Shabas. We haven't added the class box to it, that's why it's unstyled. So what we can do is new box dot the class list dot add box. Now this. Is this clear? Now you might have got some idea of how data from databases work on web pages. Now this is not dynamic, this is sort of dynamic content. It depends upon the array. Okay, and I already had given you the maps assignment. If you remember, you created 50 ID based divs yourself.
Yes, sir.
That is not the way out. We will do it in maybe the next class. So again, that is data dependent. Those will be automatically created for us. If I now increase the number of elements in the array, this will be increased. What if I want to show all the boxes, not the content of the boxes, but this 1, 2, 3. So how will we do it? Maybe if I change it to inner HTML and wrap this in h2 tag, like this. It needs concatenation. And you can use string literals also. Okay, so if I just change it to I, what it will show? Shabas. The indexes of it, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right?
Yes, sir.
So that's it for today. Thank you very much. Tomorrow we will have further explanation of adding elements to the page.